Here we have some diagrams of how radian measure concept is applied to the unit circle. So let me read some information about it. The central angle representing one full rotation counterclockwise about a vertex corresponds to an arc length equivalent to the circumference of the circle 2 pi r. From this, you can obtain the following radian measure. So, looking at the circle diagram on the left, that's our first one. One rotation equals 2 pi r over r. So, again, using the geometry rule, formula for circumference is 2 pi r. And one rotation is the arc length, so s. So where are these fractions coming from? So let's talk about one rotation equals 2 pi r over r. So this comes from that ratio angle theta, or central angle theta, equal to s over r. So one rotation is the one that we're talking about, the angle that rotated counterclockwise about the vertex. So starting from the initial side, as you can see, found the black arrow is rotated in one rotation counterclockwise. So that's where the one rotation comes from. Now, what it equals, the numerator, 2 pi r, that's the circumference. That's the arc length that was traveled about the circle, or the circumference. Now the r was from the ratio central angle theta equal s over r. So when you have this, it's simplified where the r on the numerator and the r in the denominator divide into 1, and you're left with 2 pi rad, or 2 pi radians. So moving forward, 360 degrees is 2 pi, or radians, or rad. Now, 1/2 rotation is going to be 1/2 of 2 pi. So if you were going 180 degrees, so starting from my initial side, following the black arrow, I'm going 180 degrees. So basically it's going to be 1/2 of 2 pi. So 1/2 of 2 pi, meaning that 2 is going to divide by 2 into 1, and you're just left with pi radians, or rad. 1/4 rotation, that's the 90 degrees. So starting from my initial side, following the black arrow, I'm just rotating 90 degrees counterclockwise. So 1/4 of 2 pi, 1/4 of 360 degrees. So 1/4 of 2 pi, basically 2 over 4. 2 over 4 is simplified to 1/2. 1/2 times pi is pi over 2 radians, or pi over 2 rad. 1/6 rotation is going to be 1/6 of 2 pi. So basically 2 over 6, which will simplify to 1 over 3. 1 over 3 times pi is going to be pi over 3 radians, or rad. Now, following this statement, because 2 pi radians and 360 degrees both correspond to one complete revolution, you can write 360 degrees equals 2 pi radians, or 180 degrees equals pi radians. So how did we get that? As you can see, if you wanted to get pi, the symbol pi by itself, you would divide the right side by 2, and then divide the left side by 2. So 360 divided by 2 is 180 degrees. So that's how we got this statement, 180 degrees equals pi radians. This last equation leads to the following equivalent statements. 1 degree equals pi over 180 radians, and 1 radian is equivalent to 180 over pi degrees. So we're going to be using these two statements when converting between radians and degrees.